Nubian Incognito.
The content of this podcast is explicit and must be used for entertainment purposes. The views and content shared on this podcast does not reflect the brand of Nubian Incognito or its affiliates, and we are not legally responsible for actions taken as a result of listening. We do not own the rights to the music shared on this platform.
Whether you're from Barbados or Cameroon, we have a hat for you. On NubianIncognito.com, we have a mega collection of merchandise for you to rock your culture and country. Go check out our collection today.
So what brings you here today? Tell me a little bit about yourself.
So let's see here. Originally from Buffalo, New York, and back in, a long time ago, let's just say I was asked to come to Charlotte, North Carolina to do some public speaking for an investment company. And I fell in love with Charlotte. And soon afterwards, I met a bunch of cool people and just got involved in a lot of other activities that actually kept me here. So, yeah, I mean, that's it. Yeah, I mean, so from from Buffalo, moved here. So I've been here probably over 15 years.
Okay, and you said lots of different activities brought you to Charlotte. So explain an activity that you do that's significant.
So I'll start slow and then I'll move up. All right. So one of the activities is that I really got into photography, and so I really took off and did very well for myself from a business standpoint. I worked as a commercial catalog photographer for several companies, and it afforded me the opportunity to travel all over the world for about 3-4 years until I called it quits.
What made you call it quits on that?
The cray women.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that answer.
Yes. So I had. So let me just explain a little bit more. It starts to unfold. So I was a catalog bikini photographer.
Oh.
So
that's an interesting life.
Yes. Very, very interesting life. And so I did that.
Were you dating someone at the time you were a photographer for bikinis? Oh. Yes. How was that?
It was great because I would always say, hey, why don't you come along?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's the other thing too. I mean, when you're in that industry, it's easy to get roped into the whole idea of that, hey, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you kind of deal right there. That quid pro quo type of deal. But after being in Europe for quite some time, doing the photo shoots and all that stuff, you get an opportunity to know who these women are and what really brought them there. Like when you ask why 7 times, like, why are you a model? Why are you a model? And then ultimately you find out and you're like, oh my gosh, this is devastating. And it's not even
So fun. You feel like a lot of women were models because of, or what did some women tell you that they were models? Like what brought them to be models?
Well, ultimately, a handful of them that were very, very revealing were sexually molested when they were younger. And they were never, ever told that they were pretty enough and everything. So what a photographer does is he or she actually provides constant positive reinforcement that they are beautiful. So as you're taking a photograph, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Oh my God. And so it's like a drug in a sense. So it becomes very, very addictive. So if I keep telling you that you're pretty, and your father always thought that you were just like complete shit or you were never ever good enough, for the first time, you're actually receiving some validation right there. And so it's very, very easy for a lot of these women to fall deeply in love with the photographer, or at least, just because they may have been the only person that actually sees them for who they really are, so to speak. But that could be a lie or a game in itself. So as I would just talk, I mean, I just had absolutely no interest because to me, these women were like totally broken, and damaged goods. That was me. That was, when I say damaged goods, I mean, some of them have actually gone on to do other things to kind of mask their pain. Like they get really, really heavy into drugs, the pills, all the alcohol and all that other stuff right there. So that was the sleazy side of it that I just didn't like.
Okay.
Would you like your brand to have an ad right here on this podcast? Purchase an ad on our podcast today for $50. You don't want to miss an opportunity to get your brand in front of our global audience.
Okay, so what are some other like things that you do or jobs that you have?
Good. So the skateboard, I used to be a pro skateboarder.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I was younger, and I actually, right now in my car, I'll pop the trunk and you'll see my skateboard right there.
Oh, okay. Do you have like people you do that with, or you just kind of do that on your own?
It's just myself right now. I mean, it's always been just me. When I moved here to Charlotte, all my old skate buddies, I just don't talk to them. I mean, they're old now, so no one. I think anyone over 25 years old is just like considered a dinosaur if you skateboard.
What? I mean, how old is? I don't even know. I don't even think he's a skateboarder. Never mind.
What's that?
Something with Hawk in it, Tony
Oh,
Hawk?
yeah, Tony Hawk. Yeah, I grew up watching Tony Hawk when he was there. I did have an opportunity to travel to California when I was 14 years old. I was sponsored by I was sponsored at that time. And in order for me to go to that next level, I literally had to move from Buffalo to California. And I was just like, I'm not moving.
That sounds exciting.
Yeah, I know. In hindsight, I don't know how I would have made it, but I'm sure I would have figured it out. But so the old skateboarding.
Okay.
Yeah, skateboarding was always something that's a passion. Between the photography. So here's the other thing too. So I don't do the bikini photography anymore. I cut that out. Like
Okay.
I'm just done. Those cray women right there. So I photographed the Maxim, the Playboy girls, and everything else, and I just wanted to have something simple and really get back. And it became to the point where it was all about money at that point, and I lost my passion for it. So I didn't really care. So I became very, very detached from it, and I wanted another outlet that would allow me to be creative. Just because of the work that I was doing for a career, it was definitely not creative. So I walked away from the photography stuff, and then I said, all right, I'm back in the States now. Let me just try to do photography. So I started a business. It did very, very well. I became the go-to person for photography to the point where I was just like, this is done. I'm done. I don't enjoy this anymore. So I met up with a guy who wrote a book called Chicken Soup for the Soul.
I felt like I know this book. That's you just said that so casually.
Yes.
Okay.
So I met up with the guy who wrote the book Chicken Soup for the Soul, for the entrepreneurial version of it right there. And we were talking, and he goes, hey, talk to me about your businesses. I said, okay. He goes, well, I'll tell you this. I would never have a business unless it was scalable. He was like, is your business scalable? And I thought about it. I was like, no. He goes, So pretty much the next day I closed that business down.
The next day?
Literally the next day.
Wow, you didn't even consider trying to make it scalable? You just stopped?
Well, when you think about it, I have to be like, if I get sick, there's no revenue being generated right there. So there's no way for me to automate it. If I'm not able to automate it and delegate it, then I'm going to eliminate it. That's like my little routine or little...
Is that an advice you would give to other entrepreneurs out there?
Yeah, I totally said do not, because otherwise, you know what you are. You're basically, all you've done is just created a job for yourself.
And the goal is to be the person that's in charge.
Yeah, or I like the idea of just empowering other people in order to run, let's say a business, and I can just be thinking more strategically from my standpoint versus actually being in the business and being that front and go-to person in order to make that work.
So basically what you're saying is if you're trying to run a business, you should build it to where people can do the tasks to achieve the goal without you having to be the go-to person to do everything.
Exactly.
I agree with that, especially nowadays. I feel like you have an influx of people trying to be the man. Everyone wants to be a CEO. Everyone wants to be the owner. And it's like, you could collaborate with people or you could employ people to help you, or you would achieve the goal a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently if you actually, took away the ego portion of being an entrepreneur. And I really hope that younger or millennials or the younger generation understands that with a lot of people with social media appearing that you can do everything by yourself. So I'm really glad that you spoke to that.
Yeah, right on. I mean, it's now like I own a business where we have a very large, group of people who are there in my business. I mean, it does very, very well. It allowed me to like walk away from my investment banking, capital markets. I used to be a banker. So I walked away from that and said, screw you, I am done. Deuces.
Is there something about that industry? It seems like a lot of entrepreneurs I meet, it's like, I mean, most of them do come from corporate America, but it's something about the finance world that gets tiring quickly, or at least that's just my hypothesis.
It is. Here's the thing. I used to be, well, let me say, for a long time, I was like a very, very nice person. And then the more I became in that corporate life, you get roped into it, especially when you, like at a director level, you start to see things, and then there's a certain way that you have to communicate with people. So instead of giving people the benefit of the doubt, I would just say, come on, hurry up, get to the point. I'm thinking bullet point, bullet point, bullet point. I don't care whatever's going on in your life. I really don't care. You just need to make sure that you just say it this way, be this way, do these things right here. And so there's a complete lack of empathy that happened. And so I became very numb. And I remember having conversations with people, and I'm thinking, my gosh, I don't need a novel. Just give me the cliff notes. Just tell me what I did. And so there was a lot of inconsiderate behaviors on my part. And then it got to the point where I was completely callous. I remember being on a phone call. I remember this was like, I realized, damn, you're a straight up asshole. I was on a phone call. Okay. And there was a guy in London, and he worked 90 hours. There was some stuff that was going on where everyone was all hands on deck. And this guy worked 90 hours. And everyone was just like, how come it's not done? How come it's not done? The guy just said, fuck this. Committed suicide.
That's sad.
Committed suicide. And then a couple days later, we're on a call. This was the message. Hey, yeah, I'm sorry to hear about so-and-so, right? But who's going to be taking lead on that one right now? So it's if people believe that people go in there thinking that everything is great, and like I had all the tailored suits and the watches and everything, and whatever, and I sold all that stuff, got rid of it, and gave it away.
Quick question: was that a therapeutic feeling to get rid of a lot of those things?
I'm a minimalist now.
Wow, you say that today. I was actually cleaning out some of my clothes. I'm not a minimalist or anything, but I feel more at peace when I get rid of a lot of things.
Liberating. Yeah.
It was hard though. I didn't even get as many clothes out of my closet, but just the feeling of, okay, I don't need all these things.
Do you have a lot of clothes?
I have, and it's something that it's all the women in my family. We all are like that. We have so much clothes and we don't wear all of them. I have so much clothes that I have to switch it out per season.
What? Do you have seasonal clothes?
Yeah, because it's just so much that it just won't all fit in my closet. Yeah, it's like when I was in high school, I had a shopping addiction, and even in college, like every week I would buy something online, or I would find like fast fashion sites. So it's like, you can get like the Forever 21s, the Boohoo, the Express. So you can just buy, you can take like $100 and get like 10 things, and it's like and then even some of the things I was throwing out today, I've never worn them. I just buy them.
So you have clothes with the tag still on them?
Yep. And sometimes it gets to the point where I can't even, like, I've outgrown it and I never even wore it. When I realized I had like kind of a shopping addiction is when a couple summers ago, I bought the same pants 3 times and I didn't realize it. And every time I would see the pants online, it was from the first time was from Forever 21. The second time was from Boohoo. And then the third time was from Charlotte Russe. And I realized the third time that I had bought, it was just green cargo pants. And I had bought 3 of basically the same green cargo pants, but it never registered to me. Every time I was seeing it, I'd be like, oh my gosh, these pants are so cute. I need some green cargo pants, but it never occurred to me that I already bought it like twice.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not even like rich. So it's like, it can happen to anyone, like buying a lot. So
working in banking, they pay you very, very well. And so the money just keeps pouring in. And so if if I thought of something, I was like, yeah, I think I'll just do this, and I just buy it. And I remember one little splurge just said, oh, I like the way a friend of mine is he sells Lamborghinis and Ferraris. And so he calls me up. He says, hey, I just picked up this Jag. Do you want it? I said, let me take a look at it. I looked at it. I was like, ooh, yeah. I said, yeah, give me your wiring information. I'll wire some money over to you right now. And that's it. And then
Wow. The closest thing I have to that with my friends is, oh, I have an extra honey bun. Do you want it? Come check it out. Nobody's text me a whole Jaguar. Wow.
yeah. So, but now that I've kind of left the corporate world, now I have a strong, a strong taste. Like it's almost like I detest anything associated with that era in my life. So now all my suits, I have all these tailored suits and shoes and watches and belts and all this stuff. I want it gone. Like I really want it all gone. So I've been like selling this stuff and just.
Do you want it gone for like things that cost less, or you just don't want to see them around?
I just don't want them. I don't plan on. I'm officially retired from corporate America. And so that means I have no use of these clothes ever again. Even
what if you have like a public speaking event or?
I have one. I have 2 suits.
Wow.
That's it. I have 2 suits I have 2 suits and 2 shirts that I can wear, and then 2 pairs of pants, or 2.
And you're doing this by choice, so you do have the money to buy all these things.
Yes.
Wow. So are you just saving your money, or are you using it in...
Yeah, I've completely... It's funny because ever since I left that job that was paying me, well, I actually feel like I don't have credit card debt anymore. So that's one thing right there. And
that's liberating.
Yeah. So it's a freedom. Like I feel like my financial situation is better now that I actually left that corporate world, just because again, that hey, at the end of the month I'm going to have like a shitload of money coming in. So you just spend. It's just like, hey man, you want to go to Europe? Yeah, let's go. Just give me 15 minutes. I'll book a flight right now. And so that's what we got used to. And so, but anyway, that's, I look at materialistic goods, like things, and I'm just like, I look at them and I'm just like, does it make me feel good when I look at this? When I put on this article of clothing, does it make me feel good? And it's just like, it's either a yes or a no. And if it doesn't, get it the hell out of here. I don't want it. Like all my clothes, like I have 2, dress shirts, and I just looked at them this morning. I'm like, no, they're gone. I ripped them off of the hanger, balled them up, and then I threw them up at the top of the shelf in my closet. And when the AmVet guy comes by, I'll just throw that in there, and I'll probably throw in maybe 3 other shirts and maybe a pair of shoes, that someone else can basically have. But I don't want the energy. I don't want the vibe, the association tagged to it.
Do you listen to hip hop?
Yeah, of course I do.
Do you especially now in hip hop? I mean, it's always been a thing, but now it's like name brands. It seems like hip hop is like carrying the name brand as culture as far as like luxury brands, kind of like they kind of introduce it to the general public, and then that becomes something that people achieve to get. Like now it's the Birkin and the Fendi and blah blah blah. So
oh, that's terrible. It's dangerous.
Yeah. So now with Instagram, I was actually having this conversation with someone earlier, not today, but in general. And it's basically, I was telling them about how I had a lot of clothes, and they were saying like, nowadays, once you take a picture and you post it on Instagram, there's no need to have the outfit anymore unless you don't mind wearing it again, which I don't agree with, but she was saying that that's what she does. So most of the time when she wears something, she just sells it and then gets something else. And she was even saying the same thing about like name brands. Like you can just kind of rent, like there's like apps, you can just like rent a designer bag or designer things, or you can
so you can take a photo with it.
That's literally what a lot of people are doing now, just for the picture.
So these people I have a friend.
Thank you for listening to the Nubian Incognito podcast. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast channel for more fire episodes. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nubian Incognito. If you have any responses or questions to anything you've heard on the show, at us and use the hashtag Nubian Incognito. Check out our website at nubianincognito.com for our fire global collection of jewelry and hats.
On this episode, we are featuring Queen Izzy out of North Carolina. She's a rapper who just released a EP called Nothing Less. We are featuring the song Crystals from that EP. You can follow her on Instagram at Real Queen Izzy. Follow her on Apple Music and Spotify at Queen Izzy.
Putting in the work now, I know I'm gonna make it. Back then I would've never dreamed of being famous. I'm just thanking God, cause my status steady changing, steady elevating, steady getting payments. I've been going in my bag, in my Birkin. I've been doing shows on the road, I've been working. Noticing some girls trying to break in my circle, but my day ones hold it down, they been loyal. They checking on me, they keeping up, they realizing I'm sneaking up. They realizing I'm taking over, they realizing my team is up. No new friends, no new sense, my team tight, no loose ends. They seeing all the cloud and come around like I'm the juice man. Yeah, but I'm do say 2 J's if I do say. Mad vibes, I'm mad lit. That's even on my work days. And even on my work days, I'm bagging niggas that's tight. Pull up and flex on the scene and I'm fresh with the team. And you know that they feeling the vibes. Yeah. Crystals, yeah. They wonder how I give it, I'm giving them every time. They know that I am different, I'm giving them different vibes. My music lives forever and ever, I'll always shine, yeah. My music is forever and ever, I'll always shine. Yeah. They know that I am different, I'm giving them different vibes, yeah. They wonder how I give it, I'm giving them every time. My music is forever and ever, I'll always shine. I said I'm going in every beat, going in every rhythm. Dropping new flex all on my new ex to make them upset. But I'm all in his feelings, just to let him know how I'm living. I'm keeping it simple, everything crystals, everything diamonds. If you're really hip to the lingo, I'm always putting on for the A-list. Ain't shit changing even when a motherfucker get famous. Them real ones, y'all knew that. I'm next up, them true facts. Don't play with me when gang with me, we bring the vibes, that's no cap. No cap, that's crystals, ayy. New whip, no rental, ayy. My flow so crazy, can't nobody ever step to me. I'm putting in the work now, I know I'm gonna make it. Back then I would've never dreamed of being famous. I'm just thanking God, cause my status steady changing, steady elevating, steady getting payments. Yeah, vibes, crystals, vibes. They wonder how I give it, I'm giving them every time. They know that I am different, I'm giving them different vibes. My music is forever and ever, I'll always shine, yeah. I've been going in my bag, in my Birkin. I've been doing shows on the road, I've been working. Noticing some girls trying to break in my circle, but my day ones hold it down, they be loyal. Yeah.
Nubian Incognito believes that music brings Black people of all cultures together. Follow us at Nubian Incognito on Apple Music, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Remember, Nubian Incognito puts you on. We have curated playlists with Black music from artists all over the world.
These people are like, I have a friend who, she's like, I guess, Instagram famous, or whatever, right? And so I said, how do you monetize your brand, like you, right? Like, how are you making? I said, because the reality is you're still a personal trainer and you're still doing modeling gigs. You have like all of these followers on Instagram, and how do you make money? How do you monetize them?
A lot of them sell ads.
She's not there, I guess, where she's selling ads or doing all this other stuff right there. But it's just like, to me, it's dangerous. It's debt. I hate the idea of debt. You know, it's like that's the new, it's a modern day way of slavery. And I didn't realize that until after I left exactly the place that actually put people in that slavery and chains. So I don't like labels. This is me. This is my brand.
Okay.
This is I don't want. I'm not wearing Nike. I'm not some label whore. I'm not going to be wearing Fendi, Gucci, any of this other stuff. So I reached out to some clothing manufacturers where these people go and get their stuff, and I know exactly where they go. And now it's about my brand, so I'm not wearing somebody else's name on my ass. It's just going to be, my brand. So I like the idea of that.
But what if someone wears your brand?
Okay, I'm fine with it.
But so then what makes your brand different from Nike? Because you guys are essentially both brands.
Yeah, we are. I guess this is just, we are essentially just brands. But from my perspective as a consumer, I dislike the idea of promoting, let's say, some corporate entity. I would promote your brand. If you came up with a brand, I'd say absolutely.
So you're saying that you would suggest people support smaller businesses or smaller brands rather than these large corporate organizations.
Absolutely.
I see that. There's so many, especially nowadays, there's so many different brands we could buy, but that's why I'm saying it's like we chase the more expensive or more called out brands that we hear in songs or we see people wearing who are influencers. Some people have brands and they don't even wear it. They wear luxury brands, but they have...
Oh, man. Do you know what a luxury brand is?
I mean, like I said, to me, currently, my perception of it is like Fendi, Birkin, Louis Vuitton, Gucci.
I've been to the places where they make this. I know I've been to the places that they make, and I'm going to tell you something. Like, you let's just take like this shirt right here. Okay.
This is just a plain cotton T-shirt, basically with designs on it.
Okay, so you see this thread right here. Right now, I could easily sell this shirt, for $45. This shirt cost me $8, fully printed.
Wow.
All right, fully printed and everything else. So $8. Now I can turn around and I sell this shirt for $20. If I wanted to, I can easily mark it up to $30. Now I say that because I'm going to throw some numbers out at you. I know explicitly where to go. I even have the manufacturers of, like, I'm obsessed with, like, leather bags. Like, I love, like, leather briefcase bags. And that's one of the trips. I took a trip to Italy just so I can pick up one, like, there.
Wow.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. This is the kind of shit that I was doing. All right, and so I flew out there, picked up an automatic watch and all this other stuff, which I don't wear. So the idea of materialistic goods... They stop serving their purpose. It gives you a sense of euphoria, and then once you have it, you're like, oh, okay, and then you need to chase that high again.
Yes.
So so while I was out there in all these different places, I realized, I'm like, oh my gosh, this stuff only costs them to make this bag. Let's say your Fendi bag or your Gucci bag, it costs them probably $4 or $5 to make.
Nuh-uh.
Yes. There's nothing special about that shit. Absolutely nothing special. I'll give you another example. There's uniforms, right, in jiu-jitsu that people charge like $280 to make, or they sell them for like $280. And they sell them for $280. And when people see it, they're like, oh yeah, it's a luxury, it's considered a luxury gi. And you know what? People pay up to $300 for it. And here's the deal. It only costs them $26 to make the uniform. Everything is perception.
Yeah. And that's really how a lot of brands get like all this profit is and they put so much money into marketing because essentially what they're doing is upselling the idea that people need their brand because their brand is more elite. Yeah,
I mean, and people fall for it too. So you get a celebrity, you get like Rick Ross, Jay-Z, all those other guys, and it's sad because, dude, they're totally making their community broke. And I see that stuff because I look at the people and I work with these people, and I have friends, not me personally, but these people have, let's say, $30, $40, $50 million. And you cannot tell that they have 30, 40, $50 million because they're just walking around with just t-shirts and stuff.
Yeah, when I used to work at a high-end luxury store, and it's funny, you would see the people how would come in dressed very, I guess you would say, in a plain way, or to like the average African American, they would think that the person was just looking basic, and you could tell that they were wealthy, but they didn't look like it at all. They would just have on, some sandals, some sneakers on.
That's right.
And just come casually spend their money on like expensive things like $50, $70 candles and things like that. But you would see, some African Americans come in with like all this designer on and like get their car declined, but they looked like they had a lot of money. So it's interesting that you say that.
Were you born on a Saturday or named Abidayo? We have a bracelet for you. Check out the Nubian Incognito store today at www.nubianincognito.com.
Nubian Incognito.